going on? Welcome to another episode of Urban Health Outreach special broadcast. Tonight, this is going to be a great show. As you all know, you may have seen this picture or seen the story of Vernon needs a kidney.
Yeah.
Here, let me show you. You may have seen this picture. Well, tonight, we have the gentleman, half of the duel, who made this happen. And also, he's a transplant donor himself. All the way from Birmingham, Alabama, Jeff Hartley. What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, Steve, how are you today?
I'm all right, man. How about yourself?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. It's fall in the South. It's actually a weird evening. We're at 63 now and actually going up to 70 tonight, but it's still cool for us here. So yeah, so it's good to be here. I've been looking forward to this and just sharing with you and others about the good things that are happening.
Yeah, man, I've been seeing you around a lot. I first saw your first campaign with Vernon Needs a Kidney when you was raising funds to get a billboard put up in
Right.
Alabama, all the way to the part of her actually finding the donor. But we're going to get to that. But what I
Okay.
want to talk about now is that you are a kidney transplant donor.
Yes.
So tell us, what made you want to give the gift of life to someone else?
Well, I want to tell the story, but just in a nutshell, it was just something inside of me. When I looked in
Share
this
the
man's
story.
eyes.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, it backs up to Memorial Day weekend of 2018, and I sell furniture for a living. I work at Rooms to Go, which is it's a family-run store in the
I heard of
Southeast.
them. We had
Yeah,
them up
yeah.
here in Maryland.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a fairly large store, but I worked there, and a gentleman came in, and he told me he was looking for a mattress. Now, just to give you a little background, when you work with somebody uh, in selling them furniture, especially mattresses, you get to know a little bit about them just in talking to them about what's going on, and there's a reason they can't sleep or a reason they're uncomfortable. So this man opened up to me and said that he had aches and he had pains, that he had dialysis 3 days a week, and he was dying. He told me that basically he had to have a kidney donor to survive. And when he told me that, the weight of that just it hit me inside my heart, and it I knew at the moment that I could not unhear what I heard. I could not unsee what I knew now. I knew the truth that this man he was dying and in a bad situation. So this question just rose up inside of me, inside my spirit, and basically it was, if you could do something to save this man's life, would you? So I did not say anything at the time, but I took that question home with me and sat down with my wife. She is a godly woman. She is my rock. I talked to her about it, and of course, she encouraged me that we should pray about it and talk more about it. But with her full support, this was something that we pursued, and I actually did testing on September the 4th of 2018, and on January the 16th of 2009, we had our transplant surgery, and I was able to donate my left kidney to Kevin Hill. And it has been a blessing to be a part of that, and it was a
Right.
marker in my life. Yeah, I'll
So,
never be the same.
wow. Now, let me ask you.
Mhm.
So, Kevin was a customer at Rooms
Yes.
to Go, and I guess he comes in there often.
No.
He came in and bought some
No.
furniture, and you heard
Right.
his story,
Yes. Yes.
and you got his information from him.
Well, he told me a situation, so actually that following Monday, it was Memorial Day weekend. So that following Monday, I started calling UAB to try to get some information. Um,
Wait a minute. Wow. This is kind of unbelievable. So a customer came in, you the salesperson showing them furniture, and he's just looking at furniture and sharing his story with you,
yes.
and you decide to you after he leaves the store, this is weighing on you. You go home to talk to your wife, and then that Monday you go down to UAB to get tested for this gentleman that you don't even know.
Well, I started making phone calls to start with, and I made a little progress, but I realized that Kevin is his middle name and not his first name, and I didn't know his birthday. So I say this because it was a little difficult because of HIPAA and different things. So it was hard to get information, but I kept pursuing, and
Wow.
UAB, UAB, they eventually worked with me a little bit on it, and they said basically at one point there was nothing they could do. He had registered, but there was nothing they could do until he did his testing and things like that. There's about a year period of time that you have to UAB and I guess elsewhere that you have to for your donor to get their testing done and stuff like that before it has to start that timetable over. So what happened was that I called UAB again, and they said, look, there's nothing we can do until he finishes his battery of tests. And they said, well, have you spoken to him? And I said, well, you really don't understand. I mean, I don't really know him. I had his phone number from the order that he placed. So I told him I wanted to find out more before I said anything to him. But at that point, I decided to call him. So I
So when
did
you
call him.
called tell us what that conversation was like.
Well,
'Cause I'm sure he didn't know, like, what, like, you just
yeah.
called out of the blue. So what was that conversation like?
Well, I found out later that he screens calls from people he does not know. So the whole fact that he answered the phone was amazing in itself. And he happened to be at work. His family owns their own company, and he was there with his brother, with his sister, with his mom and his dad. And I mean, he just got very quiet and listened, and he was just overwhelmed. And I basically told him the story that when he came into the store and shared with me, my heart just went out to him, and it was something that I felt I had to pursue. I found out later he got off the phone and wept with his family about the situation. The same time, his dad is actually going through cancer, and it's just a hard time for his family. So this really gave them a lot of hope and joy, not only in this situation but in his dad's as well. So,
Man, that's awesome.
yeah.
And here we have you right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now tell us, for promotional purposes, this is half of a whole picture, which on
Right,
the other side is the
Kevin.
recipient, Kevin.
Kevin
Now,
Hill. Yeah.
yes. Now, was this before or after surgery?
That was pre-surgery, just a little bit before we went in.
Okay. And
Uh,
so when this picture was taken and you was about to get put under anesthesia to get one of your organs away to someone you didn't know, what was going through your mind when this picture was taken?
well, all right. So I looked at this. I'm a man of faith. This to me was very much a faith walk. I felt like it was something that God had placed in my life, and I give Him all the glory for this. I will say that I was obedient, and I felt led to do this. So there was one point during the whole process that maybe some question popped up inside of me about my decision, and that was when they said, "Yes, you're a match. It's a go." And just the little question came up, And I really felt led to pray about it, and God gave me a analogy of the fireman running in the building when other people are running out, and basically I felt like that was my mantra from that point forward. Run toward the fire, run toward it, and so. To be honest with you, at that point, I didn't look back. I had full acceptance, joyful, as you can see in the picture there, because
Hmm.
I believed God was in charge of this. God, He had ordained this day, and I knew He would see me through it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, there's not too many people like you, and we had a gentleman on the other night, Pastor Nick Gentile, who it took him 10 years just to donate. You don't
Mm,
find individuals like you two, especially in today's society, that just like you said, it was the Lord's will for you to do that. I mean, it sounds easier said than done.
mm,
When you say that, well, when a lot of people say that, you got to really believe that, and especially when
mm.
you're giving someone a piece of yourself,
Yeah.
you know. So, do you keep in contact with Kevin?
Oh yes, we are very close. I don't spend as much time with him as I would like because of just busy schedules, as well as advocacy and that type of stuff. But we get together several times a month.
Is he young guy, old guy? What is his age?
He's about 45. Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so. How how long was Kevin on dialysis before he met you?
He was there right out about a year. Hmm.
About a year. Oh, lucky. Wow.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
really blessed. Really, really blessed.
Yes,
And
he was.
so before you heard his story, have you ever heard of kidney disease or knew
No.
the prevalence of it and the
No,
incidence
I mean
of it?
it wasn't on my radar, Steve. I'd never heard of it, or I was not familiar. I didn't have any relatives that were struggling or suffering with disease or on dialysis. It was really, it was a combination of Kevin telling me what was going on. I will say he did not tell me what was going on to influence me. He was sharing genuinely what was going on with himself, and
Hmm.
I just felt like it was a combination of he carried the message and God did the rest. And we'll get back to that with Verna. But I think a takeaway for that for a lot of people is that there's hope. That if you tell your story, if you share with people what's going on, if it happened to Kevin, it can happen to you.
Wow. Wow. Now, speaking of Verna, let's bring this picture up here.
Mm.
Now, before we get into the story, can you just tell the audience, I mean, the listening viewers, who these two women are?
Okay.
Starting from the left.
Okay. So that is Jamie Birchfield, and she is the donor. And on the right there is Verna Johnson. And Verna,
Did this did this
go
already
ahead.
happen?
Yes, yes. So the transplant surgery was yesterday on the
Oh,
24th.
awesome.
Yeah. So the picture that you're looking at, we were not able to coordinate surgery schedules to maybe get a picture before. So this is one of them this afternoon. Berna took her first walk, and and Jamie is actually the donor is actually able to walk without her walker. But we sat down in a hallway in Birmingham, Alabama, overlooking a city street, and took that picture together. And Verna is doing amazingly well. Both of them are very, very courageous. I actually got permission to share this with you, but Verna, her creatinine level yesterday was 7.7 before transplant. Immediately after surgery, it went to 6.0, and as of today, it's at 2.4 and going down. So, just very excited, very excited.
Wow. Wow. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is truly a gift from God that this
Yes.
happened. So walk us walk us through you meeting this woman, Verna. How did this come about? You donated a kidney, and so I'm sure you
Right.
went on with your life, went back to work. Now, what gave you the instinct to go out and want to help someone find a kidney?
Okay. So when I had the surgery, I had a couple of weeks off. I was very fortunate and very blessed. Now, recovery time can vary. I guess the average is 4 to 6 weeks, but I was able to go back in 2 weeks. And I say that to anybody that might consider donating, that it is possible, and there's more and more people doing that. So I was very fortunate and blessed in that capacity. When I was recovering, though, I had some time, and I've really never had a use much for Facebook. I at one or two times they canceled my account and really only had it so my wife could show me pictures and different things. So I happened to have some downtime, and I went in to Facebook and I typed in kidney donor, and it brought up several support groups. And so I started talking to people that had donated, and I thought that was very, very cool. At the same time, I also watched a YouTube video by Ned Brooks, and it was a TED Talks video. It's about 14 minutes long, and in it, he shared his donation story and that he felt the best person to share or talk to a possible donor is a person that's been through that, a donor themselves. So that was like a seed that was planted in me. And I felt like God started using that. And so I started expressing in these support groups my desire to advocate. There's a lady that some of you know, Amy Martin, and I believe Amy was the first one that mentioned the Brown brothers. And they're well known on Facebook, well known on, in the kidney community. I believe Jared was the first one that reached out to me. And then based on a conversation that Jared had with his twin brother, Jeff, Jeff took me under his wing and fostered me, mentored me, showed me the ropes of advocacy, and together as a team, we started working with Verna. In fact, I believe Jared and Jeff, I had started initially with another gentleman, and for medical reasons, he was deemed that they could not do transplant surgery. So at that time, I was not sure where I was going, but I remember telling Jeff, I would like to work with somebody that's local, that maybe I could have somewhat of a quote unquote ground game and be involved in their life, up close and personal, whatever that, as far as advocacy, whatever that entails. And so, Jeff and Jared actually had brought Verna to my attention. Little did she know, she was struggling with this whole thing, and she was on hemodialysis at that time, and she didn't know what to do or how to do it. She tells the story that she prayed and said, God, please just send me somebody to help, Lord. I don't know what I'm doing. And she said the next day she looked on her Facebook and there was a friend request from me. Well, I didn't know how to be an advocate at the time, so I had changed my Facebook page to say Jeff Hartley, advocate for those needing a kidney. Well, Verna always checks out somebody before she accepts them as a friend. So she went there, and there it was in bold letters that I was an advocate. So she was like, "Thank you, God." Click. So
Wow.
It worked out well.
Yeah. Now you spoke of Jeff Brown, and he's basically one of the unsung heroes. Just because he's over and where he's at out of the country, we don't always get a chance to see him because of the time difference, but we see his amazing work that that he does. Now, what is it like, or was it easy learning the information that Jeff taught you, or both brothers showed you? Was that hard to because you said you weren't really like a tech guy, so was it hard to learn that type of stuff? Graphic design?
I think it's something that the average person can learn. It's just a matter of learning a little bit about the programs and what's out there. So I think that's something that if there's programs out there that could expose people to, the different programs that are free, that are available maybe on their phone, they can download. So Jeff and Jared use a lot of those common programs that are available to everybody. I'll tell you something else they've done that's out there is they have done online, or I should say video I can't even say the word, tutorials.
Tutorial. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, they've done online classes of some of their basic programs and how to use them. And so if there was somebody out there that really wanted to apply themselves and learn, they can. So there's a difference from Jared and Jeff and myself. I was able to grasp 3 or 4 things, and I use them on a regular basis, whereas they are about 20 levels above me. So even if you're able to grasp the basics, you can still move forward,
Wow.
and be your own advocate. But as I mentioned earlier, Kevin reached out to me. Part of that was he carried the message. He brought it to me. So many times I know that people struggling with kidney failure and dialysis have so much on their plate, and they're struggling so much. So it's so important that you find a champion, to find an advocate that can work with you and help share the load, help share the responsibility. Again, these programs that are out there, I'll be glad to get you a list of some of the ones we use. So would Jeff and Jared, but those are out there if somebody wanted to pick them up and learn. So.
Wow. You just said something that kind of hit me for a moment when that you said, people who deal with this disease can use an advocate, and that is true, man. If you had people, because of the what's the word I want to use, the complexity sometimes of the process for a transplant, that it could be overwhelming for some people, and for someone that can help someone navigate that and also advocate for them for a donor. I mean, that's awesome. Now, Jeff, let me ask you this. What gave you the idea of posting a billboard? That was a brilliant idea.
Oh,
how did that come about?
Well, thank you. All right, so we used Facebook as an anchor. And again, I want to emphasize everything that Jeff did to help me there. We were a team. You'll see that Jeff helped with a lot of the posting. Verna did all her interviews, and we can talk more about that. It's something that I just felt inspired to do as far as the billboards. I felt that that's something that we needed to pursue and do. And I called Verna and I said, look, I don't know anything about billboards, but I was praying about this, and I just felt like this is something that we need to do. And she's like, well, I feel the same way. And so I said, well, I guess the only thing that we can do is start making phone calls. So I Googled, and I saw 2 companies. To be honest with you, didn't know anything about the billboard marketing or the billboard market, I should say. I didn't know who the players were. So I just called 2 people, 2 companies. I was able to get one on the phone. And little did I know, I was speaking to the vice president of the company. To me, it was almost like God opening the door. And so I was able to talk to him about what I was trying to do, and he was so patient to listen. He said that he could work with us. You've got to realize our billboards, they were not free, and we can talk a little bit about that as well. But the billboards, he was willing to work with us. He gave me some basic information and said if we wanted to pursue it to get back with him. And so I came up with a design based on the specs they gave me on my $200 laptop from Walmart. And they said that it was good and acceptable. And so here's the thing. I heard one person say, we don't have, my nephew is struggling with kidney disease, but we do not have the money for billboards. So I bought him a t-shirt. Look, t-shirts are wonderful, car magnets, getting it out there on your car, anything that tells that story, that carries that message, please get it out there. But we did not have money for billboards either. So the way we approached it was, I went to some people and said, this is the situation. This is what we're trying to do. It's a dire situation. I'm trying to get this message out about this woman. And I started out with some friends that I knew and approached them to get the initial funding. Once we were able to get it launched, we did a Facebook fundraising campaign, and we're able to fund it from there. So we started out with two billboards. I will say we did not get free billboards from the company, but as our relationship grew, they bought into this thing that we were doing. And it's really not about our terms that we worked out with them. It's not even about who they were, although it's very public. It was Mashburn Outdoor Advertising. The main thing is there's other companies out there that are going to have that soft spot. Again, my belief, carry the message, God will do the rest. So the main thing is to carry the message, to pick up the phone. If it's something you're uncomfortable doing, taking that step of faith or having somebody do it on your behalf. And, there's nothing to lose, everything to gain, Steve, everything to gain.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you don't mind me asking, what is the cost of one of those billboards?
Well, like I said, I called. I'm not going to go into the details that we were able to work out. It's just something.
Oh, no, I don't want to know that. I'm just saying the average cost if somebody wanted to.
It really, it depends on it depends on a lot of factors, like where the billboard's located, the actual size, etc. So, like I said, we were very fortunate to start off originally with 2 billboards, then we moved to 5 to 6. The last count we had was up to 11 billboards. I will say this too: if you're going to try that approach, look for a company that does digital billboards, because a lot of times they will run those things in cycles. So maybe they will have 8 advertisers, but they keep one. All right. So if you're an advertiser, they may sell it to you and say, hey, you're guaranteed a minimum of 300 blips or viewings per day. But if we don't have enough advertisers, you may get more. Well, that built-in spare time, sometimes they will use for charitable causes. Okay, so you can have your full graphic. So we were guaranteed on each billboard a minimum of 300 exposures per day on busy interstates in Birmingham and Montgomery. So we had hundreds of thousands of people seeing the billboards every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some definitely marketing right there.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it was a beautiful thing. Now, let's look at the success of how this came about. Facebook, we did a post in a large church on their community Facebook post. The church has close to 40,000 members statewide. They do different campuses, and that is where Jamie Birchfield first saw or was exposed to Verna and her situation. So it wasn't the billboards that brought it in, but I'll tell you what, the billboards brought in the media. Verna ended up doing, and she did all her own interviews. I helped her with the initial, and from there she ended up doing 6 different news stories, getting that story out there, getting the message. Verna is a very endearing, genuine, loving person. People fell in love with her. So here it is, Steve. So you've got us putting the message out there. God's opening doors. We're taking those steps of faith. We had the team. You had Jeff Brown. You had myself. You had Verna, all doing her part. The community came together. The Facebook community came together. They started sharing. They started spreading the news, and so we really, really grew. And it's just a huge success. And I want to thank everybody on the team, as well as everybody that participated in some form or fashion, because you have a part in the miracle. You have a part in this miracle.
Absolutely. Now, you shared on Facebook, I guess it was the first meeting of Joni and Verna
Of
when
Jamie.
when I'm sorry, Jamie and Verna when
Uh,
you told Verna that this was the donor?
yes.
So she didn't know that someone was going to donate a kidney to her.
Well, all right. So to start with, she was made aware that there was a donor. They did not know at that time what type of date that the surgery would happen. They were still trying to work out some things with final testing, et cetera. So she was aware about 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, that there would be surgery. At one point, it looked like it was going to be delayed out because of work schedules out past December into the spring, perhaps. But the donor, Jamie Birchfield, she was just so excited about this opportunity. Again, a woman of faith. She felt very similar to I that this is something that she was called to do. We'll have her on perhaps one day. She can tell her own story.
Right.
But
So can you take us back on when you heard that it was a donor's been found? How did you find out about this?
Well, so I found out originally because I had posted the Facebook post in the church group, and so the young lady reached out to me, and so I knew beforehand that she had applied to be for testing, and so later on she contacted me again and said, this is something that I think is actually going to go through. She contacted me a third time and said, I'm a match. And so we kind of developed a rapport. And so I was very privileged and honored to not only have this relationship going with Verna, who I advocate for, but also with the potential donor. So it was just a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
And
that's a very unique situation.
I can't tell you how excited, and it's been such an honor to be in the middle of this. And again, I feel like God has just picked me up and put me here. The main thing I'm doing, yes, there's hard work, but it's being obedient, and He's opening up the doors.
So with is it Jamie, right?
Yeah.
Jamie and Verna, was that their first time meeting when you shared that video?
Right. So we found out about the date. Verna had basically said any day. So the coordinators they called Jamie to work on the dates. They knew we had the dinner. We were going to have a celebration, congratulations dinner, just about the donation in general. But we said, well, do we want to hold off on actually telling Verna the date? Verna expected to hear about the date, so it really kind of frustrated her, and so we went ahead and said we need to let her know the date. So now she knows that she's got a donor. She knows that it's scheduled for the 24th, but she doesn't know who. It's an anonymous donor. So we planned this dinner. We had a representative. We invited several people from the billboard company, and so we had the donor, Jamie, disguised as one of the representatives from the billboard company. So I don't know if the audience, I don't know if they've seen the video or not, but basically Verna, I gave a little speech and then called Verna up and thanked her for allowing me to work with her. I gave the floor to Verna and asked her if she wanted to thank anybody, and she thanked many people. And then I said, do you want to thank anybody else? And so she finished what she had to say, and I said, of course, we don't need to forget thanking your donor. Verna, she just got so emotional talking about her donor and how the donor didn't have to do it. The donor didn't have to do it. Verna had her head down. She was just crying. You can hear it in the video. Meanwhile, I had waited for the donor to come up. Verna didn't realize that, but now the woman that would save her life is literally a foot and a half away from her. So we finally were able to get Verna's attention, and she looked up. I encourage the viewers to watch the video. It's amazing. It's got over 15,200 views at this point.
Wow.
So it's amazing. It's so heart-wrenching and emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, you in the middle of this, what was going through you, man? I mean, because you donated a kidney and you started being half of manager of this lady's page. Now you're standing in the middle of the donor and the recipient. What was going through? I mean, any emotions? What was going through
Oh
you at the
man,
time, Jeff?
man. Well, you probably already noticed I'm an emotional guy. It runs in my family, but yeah, I was an emotional wreck myself. My first thought though was to catch Verna. She went stiff, and I thought she was about to check out for a few minutes. Uh, yeah. So but yeah, the whole night was very heartfelt and very emotional. But that moment, it was such it was such an honor to be a part of that. To me, out of all the work that we'd put into it, that and seeing this donation today that happened yesterday, that was worth it all. Those are moments that have been etched in my heart and have changed my life, and I'm just very grateful for those. So, I wish
Wow.
Jeff Brown had been able to be there. I know he would
I
have
was just
loved it.
about to say, I was just about
Yeah,
to say it would have been great if both of y'all were there
yeah.
able to celebrate that together.
Yes, I will say Berna was very grateful and had many kind words to say about him. Jeff had an audio clip there all the way from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and where he works, and we just wish him the best. He is such a giving person. Up to at one point he was managing or helping Jared. They were co-managing up to 13 different pages, and he does that just because of his love for mankind. He's such a big-hearted guy and a genius as well on graphics and computer.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Jared. I love
Amazing,
working with
amazing.
Jared on Warriors Quest. So, tell us, since all this has transpired, I mean, has that given a big boost in your faith?
Oh yes, yes. I mean, I when you start
Oh, wait
taking
a minute.
these.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I'll let you finish. Sorry to interrupt you. We had a
No, no problem.
comment from Leslie, and she wants to
Uh-huh.
know where can the video you mentioned be found for when that dinner party with Vern meeting Joni.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's on the Burner Needs a Kidney Facebook page, and we actually have it pinned up top. And so it's about a 2 minute video.
Okay, so Leslie, you can go to Vern Needs a Kidney Facebook page, and that video is pinned right at the top, and you can definitely check it out. It's very uh, emotional, and it's an amazing video. Wow.
Hey, Leslie, good to see you.
Yeah. So can you continue with your story? I'm sorry. How has this boosted your faith? I mean, after all seeing this miracle happen
Yeah.
right before you.
Yes. So, we all we're at all different places as far as a relationship with God. And so I have been in many, many different places, but, to take steps of faith, baby steps perhaps, with this or even other things, and to know that there's a loving God that loves me and wants to have a relationship with me. And, so just building that relationship, taking small steps of faith, the steps of faith have increased, and so as far as this goes, it's just again been an amazing thing to know that He is there. It seemed like again every time that we felt led to do something, He was just opening doors. And again, I can't say it any simpler than if you carry the message, He'll do the rest. I do want to give Him glory for that, though, because
Oh,
it all comes back to
absolutely.
Him. It
Absolutely.
all comes back to Him. Yeah.
Wow. Now, um, let me just ask you this little sensitive subject. And we know that there are a lot of people on the transplant list,
Uh-huh.
and in the Black community,
Yes.
there's not a lot of donor awareness, or there's myths um, about transplant because of the history with medical and the African American community. That being said, has there been any flack or any backlash on this donation with Verna and Joni with white female donating to black person?
No, no, no. Look, I mean, there's always going to be people, there's always going to be haters somewhere. It has not been brought to my attention, and I don't want it to be brought to my attention.
Sure, sure.
It's a beautiful thing. You had a lady that was in a bad situation and she was dying, and another lady that again, a woman of faith, a woman of God that when God looks at us, He doesn't see those things. So why should we? It's
Absolutely.
it's reaching out to another human being in need. And I don't want to paint myself as Mr. Perfect. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of He is, and therefore I need Him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to know about kidney donation?
Well, again, my heart goes out to those that are in need. It's the epidemic that's going on in our country right now. The last number I heard from Alabama Kidney Foundation is that 94,000 people are on the waiting list, and I hear different numbers about that, but 94,000. That would almost fill up an entire college football stadium of people that are waiting for a kidney. Dialysis is a temporary solution. It's got side effects. It can be dangerous, so it's not the answer. We need answers, and I think the answers are right there in front of us. I believe that God is a God of miracles, and He can do a supernatural miracle, or He can invite us to be a part of that miracle. And again, just getting the word out to the people, one, to carry the story, but also by carrying that story, people become aware of it. And I believe the right people will step forward,
Mm-hmm.
or partner with you to help you get your story told, whether it's social media, etc. So.
Oh, so if somebody wanted you to work with them who's watching this, that's on the list and they're looking for a
Right.
kidney,
Well,
do you charge it?
No, no, no. I would never do that. So right now, where I'm at is this: I'm still somewhat of a rookie or a newbie to this.
Right.
At this point, I've been working with one person. I like a local ground game, so for now, that's probably where I'm at. I do have another lady that I want to mention to you in just a minute. Her name
Sure.
is Shannon. Yeah, Shannon Martin. She's in Rockmart, Georgia. Hi, Shannon, if you're watching. But Shannon is a very humble, genuine person. I know Jared Brown had an interview with her not long ago, and she did a fantastic job. But she's on hemodialysis, and she knows what it's like to go through that. She knows the pain. She knows the struggles. It's something that I talked to her and I felt led to help. So we're starting a campaign. We're somewhat in first gear. I told her to be patient while we were finishing up things with Miss Johnson, and then we're going to move forward. So my idea for the future, Steve, is that to learn what I'm doing and to perfect it to whatever level I can, but then to maybe start a nonprofit where I can get more people involved to help more people. But at this point, I'm just doing one at a time. But again, if you get your word out there, there are other people that I believe that would be willing to serve as an advocate. There are people like me unaware of kidney disease, but if you bring it to their attention, I believe God will touch the heart. It's just a matter of getting that message out there. So I want to help as many people as I can. I really don't know at this point how to mass produce anything that I have done, but it's something that I want to do in the future. I feel led to start an advocacy called Average Joe, Average Jane Advocacy, because that's all it is average people stepping forward to care and love about other people, to make a difference. There's so many things going on in this world that are dividing us these days. However, yeah, if we focus on what's really important, which is in my life, that relationship with God, it brings everything back to where it should be. There's unity, not division. And so that's what my focus is on all this. It's an opportunity, I feel like, for me to minister, to share my faith, to love people, serve people. And again, not trying to make myself out to be Mr. Perfect, but I am trying to inspire those that are hurting. I'm trying to inspire those that may have a hero inside of themselves and they just don't know it. So, God's got this, and it's just a matter of just giving him an opportunity to do his thing and us being obedient and taking steps.
Oh, absolutely, Jeff. I agree with you 100% because we need more people like yourself, man, to selfishly, unselfishly help people who may need it, they can't help themselves. So, I mean, wow. Have you ever thought, wow, well, you just said, you was talking about nonprofit. Did you ever think that you would be thinking or talking about doing something like that a year ago?
No, no, man, this is, first of all, I'm not comfortable doing public speaking. And it's like so many things that are out of my comfort zone that I feel like I was just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, just picked up and put into a different place, far outside my comfort zone. So I realized at some point that all the publicity is actually a good thing. It's about helping people. It's about something bigger than myself, and that's what I try to focus on. Originally, I didn't want anybody to know about my personal donation, but I feel like God gave me a platform, and it's a platform.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
You
a
deserve a
platform.
platform.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow. So have you, since your donation and the success of Vernon Needs a Kidney, have you had people come up to ask you about donation or just donation awareness information?
yes, every once in a while, I see somebody that's heard of it online or maybe seen one of the news stories. I have coworkers that where I work. Again, I do retail, and so sometimes they mention it to other customers. So, and it's amazing that if you really listen to people, just listen to what they're saying. A lot of times, they will share things, and I can't tell you how many people I've met that are going through struggles with kidney disease or dialysis or other things that may connect or relate to kidney disease like lupus or diabetes or high blood pressure or maybe they have a family member that struggle with kidney disease. So yeah, it's actually all around us if we actually start listening. Yeah.
Right. So how do your wife feel about all this? I mean, especially, I'm sure you had to put a lot of time into Vernon Needs a Kidney. Did that come in
Yeah.
between like your family time?
Well, yeah, it can take away from family time. So my wife is very, very supportive. And she, I know sometimes she feels like I press in. Look, I don't multitask well, but I do one thing. I have a focus that does one thing, and most things I do one at a time. Again, I end up having success with. So I'm just very grateful for the wife that I was given, and she is just beautiful and wonderful. But there are sometimes I'm sure she feels neglected. I try to keep a balance there. Sometimes I'm not good at it. Sometimes I'm very good at it. So, I just have this burning desire inside me. I realize that Shannon, in this situation, she needs somebody to help her. And so, it's become a passion for me, something that I can't silence. And so we will be successful by God's grace with Shannon Martin, and then we'll be helping somebody else. But my wife, again, very supportive, and I'm so grateful for her.
Yeah. How did she feel when she heard that Vernon got the transplant?
Oh, she was amazed, and she was at the dinner with us, and That's actually the first time that those two had met.
Wow.
So Verna lives in Montgomery, Alabama, which is about an hour and a half south of Birmingham. So that was the first time they had met, and it was kind of a culmination of bringing everything together. And my wife was thrilled.
I'm sure your wife is very proud of you, man, to see you put in that hard work and for that to happen, um, finding a
Well,
kidney donor for another human being. I'm sure
thank you.
she's very proud of you.
Thank you. She has expressed that to me, but also that she just feels like I mean, look, on my side of the fence too, and Jeff Brown knows this. There's been times where I feel overwhelmed and like I'm out of balance. Jeff has many times talked to me about helping me keep things on track. And again, without him, if Bernie's campaign was a success, it would have been down the road even further. So he was such a big part of this. But sometimes it's easy to get things out of balance, but it's good to surround yourself with those people, that can help you get back on track. Certainly, my wife has been there, and she has been a big bonus in this thing.
No, I definitely understand what you say about things getting out of balance because just doing these shows,
Yes,
uh, things could get out of balance. Well, it have got out of balance for me. So it's about bringing it back into balance. But
right.
only thing you could do is pray and take it one day at a time and have
Yes,
faith that it's all going to work out the way it's
right,
supposed to work out.
right,
So
right, right.
what's next for Jeff Hartley?
Well, for now, I'm going to keep selling furniture and go to work every day. And every day I'm going to work on being the best advocate I can be. Again, right now working with Shannon Martin from Rock Mart, Georgia, and then we'll see what God has in store next. Again, wanted to open an advocacy of some type as far as a 501c or maybe a nonprofit of some type. And the idea behind that is to provide, very similar to your mission statement, provide education and advocacy as well as collaboration. And again, look, since I've been involved in this, I have seen the awareness on Facebook grow and increase. And some of these people would donate if they just knew. So it's about getting the word out there, and it's about educating people on all avenues, all aspects of this, as far as even from a dietary standpoint, being a cause of kidney disease, education there, as well as health and diet, as well as exposing other people to what people with kidney disease are going through. And I think if we can do that, it just will open up more and more people to be a solution to this problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, is there anybody you want to send a shout out to
Oh man, where
before
do we
we
start?
end that
Yeah.
show?
Yeah, I don't even know where we're at on time, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah, I'd love to give a shout out to Jared Brown, Jeff Brown. Thank you so much for what you've done as a part of this team, and what you've done as far as the countless hours you've spent working with me and mentoring me. I appreciate you, brother. Love you. Just a shout out to Verna Johnson and Jamie Birchfield and how courageous they are. And Verna, she's such a fighter, and how she's never given up. Just real quick, her sister passed away from kidney disease. She was on dialysis 11 years waiting for her kidney, and it never came. And so, this thing, especially the video, when you see it, if you watch it, you'll see Verna just actually begin weeping and wailing. And that was just that release. She never wanted to allow herself to believe that she was getting a kidney until she actually knew for sure. And you can tell when that moment of realization hit her that this was it. So I encourage the viewers to watch that. But Verna, you're such a courageous woman, and she is going into advocacy as well, and just wants to spread hope to those others going through the same situation. So.
Wow. Oh, we had a comment said, don't forget the Mrs.
Oh, no, 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 no. I will not forget the missus. So, yeah.
Wow. Jeff, And I really, really um, admire and appreciate, what you've done far as your selfless act of donation to helping another human being, whether she's black or white.
Mhm.
Uh, but to me, I'm more appreciative because what's going on in the world today that you mentioned about a lot of us are being more divided than coming together. And for you being, a white gentleman to donate to a person of color, it just breaks all color barriers to know that you're a caring human being, and you know you're colorblind, and that has nothing to do. It's the grace of God, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And I just wish more people, black or white, could step up, for donation, get tested, because you're right. It's 94,000 people and more probably that are on the waiting list or trying to get on the waiting list that need life-saving organ, whether it's a kidney or lungs or heart, pancreas. It's actually more people on the list that are. It's more people on the list that are waiting for a kidney that are wanting to donate. So something definitely has to be done about this disease.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we'll
So
keep getting the word out. Keep
Oh,
getting the word out.
absolutely, absolutely, and also, I mean, in the future, we're definitely more than happy to share all your posts. And if you need any um, information, help, or anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me personally
Yeah.
or us as a whole
Thank
to
you.
share anyone's story that you're advocating for on
Thank you, Steve.
the multiple shows that we do. And I'm sure that Jed would probably want you to come on Warriors Quest, and we have other shows just to hear your story from a different perspective, and just keep getting it out there what you're doing, and hopefully it will help other people or inspire other people to do what you're doing, Jeff, to maybe donate an organ or to advocate for someone else that may can't advocate for themselves.
hmm I think I
Yeah.
lost the signal. Yeah, yeah. I'll make a closing statement on that. It occurred to me we're not all called to donate a kidney, but we are all called to care. And I think that's you can have a part in someone's campaign, even if you don't donate. You can share their post, you can pray for them, you can encourage them. There's so many things that we can do, and it's again getting the word out and just letting people know that you have a need. Yeah.
Absolutely. We had a
Hey,
comment
Steve.
from, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you. Just look for what you do in this community and the strong stand that you make, the love in your heart, your genuineness. I appreciate you. I want to thank you for allowing me to come on the show tonight.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that comment. And I had a comment from Katisha Ray Anderson. She was on one of our shows this week. Actually, Wednesday she was on. She's in Kansas City, Kansas. She had a transplant 2 years ago, but she said, "Thank you, Jeff, for being obedient to what God called you to do. You rock."
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
I
man,
think you rock. Thank
people
you,
like you
Curtis.
out there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I just want to, hey, look, somebody was talking to me about what it means to be a man of God. And, in my beliefs, I'm a son of God, but also I want to be a man of God. I want to follow in his footsteps. Um, I want to lead a obedient life that he would be pleased with. So I know I didn't come on here to have church, but it's a big part of who I am. And, I believe that's a big part of the success of this particular campaign, and I know that it will be a big part of the success of future campaigns. So,
No, absolutely, absolutely. All right, Jeff. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you, and
Thank you, Steve.
I pray, I pray that I'm able to meet you, one day in person, and go from there.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting you, shaking your hand, and it's been an honor. And if I can ever do anything to be of service, let me know, please.
Oh, absolutely, Jeff.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I
God bless
appreciate it.
you.
Take care. God bless you too, you and your family.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, guys. This was an awesome show. Hey, brother Messiah, thank you for watching. Thank you, and brother, um, we got to do something. We got to talk so we can do a show, a community show. I still got that on my heart. I still want to do it, even if you come down to WOLB and we do something from there. But definitely, I want to reach out to you, brother. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching Jeff Hartley's story. You don't see too many people like Jeff Hartley selfishly donating a kidney to someone else, then going out to help find a kidney donor for someone he never even met. I mean, truly, truly humbling story, and we hope to have more stories like Jeff to share on this broadcast. So thank you guys for watching. Uh, Tune in this Sunday for the Lisa Baxter Show at 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. right here on the Urban Health Outreach Media Network. Until then, stay blessed and encouraged. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Good night, everyone.